All right, welcome back to the Vegas Guys Locker Room. It is Fad or Fact time. I am joined once again with the one and only Lee.
It's Lee. That's right.
Here we're bringing it back, huh?
That's right. Going back to old school, man.
So last week we broke down the running backs. We broke down 1 through 10, and this week we're gonna hit the wide receivers for our Fad or Fact section.
Yeah,
this one seems a little
fun.
interesting, man.
Yeah.
This should be interesting because there were some names on there that I did not think were top 10, and sure enough, in PPR leagues, man, these guys are all top 10. So it's gonna be an interesting debate here to see what we think is gonna be a fact or a fad. But
Okay.
all right, we'll get into it. News today: Carson Wentz was released. I saw that Carson Wentz had been released.
Okay.
Yep. So it looks like Washington now will officially move on. Derek Carr is going to be headed to Indianapolis during the Combine to meet with other teams. I'm curious to see where he lands. Where would you like to see Derek Carr end up, man?
I don't know what offense he'll fit in.
That's
I'm not really
it's
sure.
tough, right?
That's a tough question. Yeah.
I think you know what? I almost want to see him in Indianapolis, to be honest with you.
They have the same. It's like that. I think that team and the Raiders is very similar.
Yeah, I mean
They got a good back, got some good receivers, but you know what I mean. Everything's very similar. So is he gonna do better? You know what I mean, or is he gonna be the same? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. I mean, I think he's a solid QB, but I think with the Colts history, them trying veteran after veteran, are they ready just to make the leap and just pick up a young rookie and develop and go from there?
Yeah, I think that's a better way for that team.
Yeah, I think so too. So, gonna be curious. Other news that came out: Joe Mixon could be on the chopping block there in Cincinnati.
You could what?
They might cut Joe Mixon.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So he has been identified as a cut candidate. So yeah, that's been reported by Brad Spellberger from PFF.com. So yeah, they are interested, but it looks like they might be moving on to clear cap space. Why? Because the team is going to be looking, of course, to move and retain Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins.
Yeah,
that's going to be the.
I guess. I mean, with that combo, I guess you could just stick any back in there. I guess. I mean,
yeah, it's going to be.
They make it happen with that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, that'll be interesting, man. That's going to be fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. All right. Well, let's get into it. We're going to break down them. I think that was all the news I kind of really saw for the day. Combine start, and I think some small stuff. What was it? Bryce Young not going to be thrown at the Combine. He's not going to throw the football, so that'll be interesting to see. What's your thoughts on that kid anyway?
Now that I'm not really sure anymore.
Dude, he's too small.
Like,
man.
they got.
What is he, like 5'10"?
That's what I'm saying. But just like, what's his name from Murray? Yeah, he's a small dude, but if he doesn't get hurt, he's capable of making the team better. So, and just what you surround yourself with too, you know, what's the team gonna be surrounded by, you know? So
yeah, should be interesting to see what goes on there in the draft. But we'll break down our Fat or Fact section. Number 10 is surprising because I did not expect to see him on this list. Is Amari Cooper, man.
Yeah, like last week we talked about the running back, right? Like they're on the show on that team. But yeah, he made it number 10.
I couldn't with no QB for most of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the
league, he's number 8.
Yeah. Jacoby Brissett was the QB for most of the season. And then you had the who should be, nameless and shameless, Mr. Deshaun Watson came in and, he didn't impress anybody. He looked like a guy who hasn't played football in 2 years. So, yeah, I mean, curious to see Amari Cooper end up on there. He's still got years remaining on his contract. I believe he's a $10 million cap hit guy. But, I mean, he had solid numbers this year.
Yeah, I'm checking it out right now on his game log. He had quite a few good games.
Yeah. I mean, shockingly solid. That was an interesting one.
Yeah, that is. I'm kind of shocked too. Out of all the receivers,
yeah. And the funny thing about it too is where it got worse for him was when Deshaun Watson took over. Look at where when Deshaun Watson first made he made his first start in Houston, right? When they played at Houston.
I believe so. Yeah.
So
I'm looking at that right now.
Since then, Amari Cooper finishes wide receiver 54, 57, 44, 31, and in Washington he was number 3, and then finishes up at 52. Before that, he had some bad weeks, but overall it was solid.
Yeah, it was solid.
And then
it was solid.
And then the so-called better QB came in, and he was worse.
Yeah, he tanked.
Yeah, it was bad. Deshaun Watson.
He had like one good game.
He had the one good game. That was it.
That was it. Yeah,
that's brutal. Brutal to see, man. Brutal to see. After Deshaun Watson took over, he only had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
imagine
tough.
if he didn't come in.
Yeah,
Watson never came in.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
He could have been
then maybe we could have been not surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
Top 10.
Exactly.
You know
I think the fact that he finished that week, so there was it the last 6 weeks, how bad he'd finished. That's not good. But what do you think of him going forward now that Deshaun Watson is settled in? He'll have a full offseason to get acquainted with these guys, to practice with you guys. Do you think Amari Cooper makes it back in?
I think Watson had to build that trust, with that team and be a leader. I mean, if he could do that, because he has the talent. I mean, he hasn't played in a few years, but he has the talent. If he could get back into that shape, that form, and build the trust around that team, I think it might work out.
Yeah, it's gonna be curious to see. I don't know. I think just watching him play football, the preseason, and then when he came in late in it last year, he didn't look good. He looked so bad.
Yeah,
he looked
bad. He did get paid, so it's like.
Is he going to be one of those guys? Already. Yeah, is he one of those guys? Oh, all my money's guaranteed, so I really don't care.
Yeah.
Where's my massage?
Exactly. Let me look for a new location.
Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable, man. But I think this is a fad. I don't think he's back, especially if Deshaun Watson's quarterback. I'm sorry. I don't believe in Deshaun Watson. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see him putting in the work to get there. I don't think he really cares.
You might be right, yeah.
He showed that when he signed in Cleveland, because he was like, I don't want to go to Cleveland. That's terrible. Then they said, hey, we'll give you this much and all guaranteed. Yeah, I love Cleveland. Man, get out of here.
Yeah, well, he needs a lot of money now.
Yeah, he's gonna
need a lot of money with all that issues.
All the issues he's got to pay off. So I don't see it. I think Amari Cooper falls out. I mean, Amari Cooper.
There's a lot of receivers out there that could be better. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, you might be right. I might go with the fat also on this one.
Absolutely. I mean, come on, man. Yeah. Look who did not make the top 10 this year. You had, Terry McLaurin did not make the top 10. Tyler Lockett did not make the top 10. Cooper Kupp was not in the top 10, but he missed half the season. DK Metcalf. Here's the big one. Here's the big one who didn't make top 10. Jamar Chase did not make the top 10. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I do not pick him as a better receiver than these guys, and I think he falls out of the top 10. This is a complete fad. So
okay,
yeah, don't believe it. This next one's going to be hype. Yeah, don't believe in that hype. Don't look at this year's stats thinking he's going to do that next year, because I don't think it's going to happen. But number 9. This one kind of shocked me, too, because he started off kind of slow, and I don't think really anybody noticed that he had snuck into the top 10, was Devontae Smith.
Yeah, because, towards the end, like, he lit it up towards the end.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of opposite from Cooper, the last 6-7 game, like, that. He lit it up. Yeah. Beginning of the season, towards the middle, it was just like, back and forth. It was pretty much AJ Brown over there.
And it's funny because everybody was like, "Oh, it's because they got a running quarterback, they got a running team, blah blah, this and that." Listen, Devontae Smith is the number 2 receiver. He had 136 targets still.
Exactly. Even he's doing this with another a top.
Yeah, with a true number 1. Yeah, he's fighting with a new number 1 guy who actually only had, I believe, 9 more targets than Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
So definitely throw the ball a lot, because, listen, you got 2 guys in the top 10 here for the Philadelphia Eagles receivers. Hey, man, Jalen Hurts, those of you down Jalen Hurts, hey, believe that hype, man. That man can throw the ball.
It sure can.
So, he looked good.
I mean, it's just showing, you know what I mean, that he made top 9 with having mediocre season in the start,
Yeah.
to finishing strong, last 6-7 games, and he still made number 9. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. So number 9. I mean, and he finished strong. I mean, the last since week 13, wide receiver 11, 17, 15, number 2, 10, and then 29. Had a rough one against the Giants there at the end, but still a solid year. I mean,
solid finish. Yeah, solid finish.
There was even a week he was wide receiver number 1 in week number 3 against the Redskins or the Commanders. I'm sorry. Yeah, so he's getting the ball.
With that, man.
I know, man. Might have to edit that out.
Yeah,
somebody might get offended. Hey, I'm Native American too, man, so it's all good.
Yeah. There you go.
But anyways, I mean, Devontae Smith, he was getting the ball. So, I mean, 135
imagine him,
targets.
Just imagine him if he wasn't on a different team.
Exactly.
Like a clear number 1 anywhere he goes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just that in the beginning too, he had good starts. It's just that, they got another number 1 there that's solid also. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And to like share this type of season together, just like you're saying, like everybody's talking about Hurts, like, oh, he's a mobile quarterback, he run whatever, but it's showing. It's showing. Man.
Yeah, they're throwing the ball there in Philly. So don't just underestimate and think Jalen Hurts is just running the ball around. That boy is slinging a rock.
Yeah, definitely. He showed it right here.
So what do you think? Do you think Devontae Smith in this offense makes it back in?
It's gonna be tough too, because top 10 is tough, man, because there's so many out there that, I mean, like you said, Chase didn't even make it. You know what I mean? Cooper Kupp didn't make it. It's the injuries that cut them loose with like less games, but definitely, I mean, it's gonna be tough, I think. But I think he'll be up there. Maybe a little outside top 10. I don't know.
I think he makes it back in. I'm going to say I think this is a fact. I think Devontae Smith, especially if you look at it towards the end of the season, I think his routes got better.
Gelling. He was gelling.
Yeah.
Definitely gelling.
He was gelling with the QB. Had he gotten a few more touchdowns, because he only had 7 TDs on the year.
Yeah, that's another thing,
136 targets.
He'll get the yardage.
Yep.
But, somebody else gets a touchdown.
Yeah, just short of 1,200 yards receiving, so.
Yeah.
Had 95 catches. I'm going to go with him being
I'd say around the same time.
I don't think he really moves up into the top 5, but I think he's a top 10 fantasy receiver next year.
Yeah, I guess I could agree with that.
So
top 10.
Yeah, I think just with that offense and the fact that Jalen Hurts still has something to prove. He doesn't.
The whole team.
That whole team. They got something to prove. So
yeah,
I definitely think another year of work. And one thing that Jalen Hurts has proved, he is dedicated to getting better every single
definitely.
year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
he'll definitely get better.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think Devontae Smith, he's back up there. It's just too good of an offense, especially if they keep it intact. I know here in a couple years it might get a little rough. Devontae Smith's contract won't be on a rookie deal.
Yeah,
you're going to have to, AJ Brown's
got
that.
Ball out.
Oh, AJ Brown's got that enormous contract. What was it? 4-year, $100 million.
That's what I mean. That's why I said it's kind of like, can he make it back to top 10, because they got somebody also that's like that. So it's like saying, can they both be in top 10? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, his talent's there.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So definitely there. So we'll go with fact with Devontae Smith. Next at number 8, the Waddle Man, Jalen Waddle, coming through at number 8. Despite, I mean, I was a little shocked.
Another team with another.
Yes, it is.
Another receiver. That's crazy, man.
That's insane. I mean, his first half of the year was definitely better than his last half. I think with all the injuries
that's the difference between him and Devonta Smith, I guess.
Yeah. I think the quarterback
his first half of the season went off.
Yeah.
And the same over here, the quarterback issues, injuries. Yeah.
I think that's
kind of hurt.
I think that's gonna. I think that'll hurt. Yeah, he was still solid though. I mean, finished off his last 4 weeks, wide receiver 7, 5, and then the last 2 games really struggled, 37 and 41.
Yeah.
So he is that short intermediate guy they're gonna let run.
And he's a quick guy, man.
Yeah, he's quick. There's a lot of speed on that team. So yeah, definitely had a big year.
Yeah,
he came up. I mean, I know a lot of people were kind of with the Tyreek Hill signing, like, oh, Jalen Waddle's not going to be a big targeted guy. I know he fell far in a lot of drafts, but man, he came out and they showed that they were.
Yeah, he really balled out.
Oh man, yeah, especially the first week was kind of quiet, but he had big gains. He was only targeted 5 times opening, but then he comes back in week 2 and has 19 targets, bro.
Yeah,
that was that ridiculous Baltimore game.
Yeah,
that was that insane Baltimore game. Oh man,
he just went off.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So
I think Tyreek Hill being there kind of helped him out too.
Yeah, I think so too.
A fast man being there, you know what I mean? So if the duo is still there, I believe he could be a top 10 also.
Yeah, I got to say, you know what? I'm going to go with this fad just because of the QB.
True.
That's what scares me the most. Can Tua stay on the field? And that's where I don't believe he can. I think the head injuries are a sign of more to come, because usually once you get a concussion, they come back and they're a little easier to get a concussion again. Yeah. He had how many concussions left? Did he have 2 or 3?
Yeah, but you could. I believe it was more, and they weren't. They're hiding it. You know what I mean?
I think there's more to this story.
He wanted to play. It's so sad because I know the players, they want to play. They want to show off. They want to go because they have the team. They have like promising team to get there. You know what I mean? So he want to be there. You know, he's a leader, but sometimes the coaches have to just step in and say, "No, it's enough, man." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean the health of the players should be top line. So
the way he went out was like, man, that career ending. You know what I mean?
I mean that first one that looked really bad. What was it? The Cincinnati game?
I believe so. And oh man, I'm surprised he even came back. Later on.
Yeah, that was dangerous.
I can't believe that.
Dangerous looking. So just that fact is why I believe Jalen Waddle slips out of the top 10. I don't believe in the QB play there. I don't think it's going to be consistent enough, especially to get 2. And if you're asking me again, who's going to finish with 2 guys in the top 10? If you're basing just a quarterback play, I'm going to take Tyreek Hill over Jalen Waddle to make the top 10.
I think that's definite.
Yeah.
I guess you're right. I guess you're right on that.
So yeah, I'll take the fat. I think he falls out, and it's not the lack of talent. I just think it's going to be the consistency at QB that's going to be the damaging factor there.
Yeah.
So, all right, next one. This one I wasn't too shocked about. I didn't think he had actually made it, but I think he had big games towards the end of the year. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown coming in at number 7.
Yeah, that's an exciting team right there. That was an exciting team to watch all year, I think. You know what I mean? That's like no defense play. It's just score after score, whoever they're playing.
Yeah, it was almost like,
you know what I mean?
It was almost like an arena football team.
Yeah. and this kid is good. This kid is good.
Yeah, I mean, it's 146 targets. He had 106 receptions. The touchdowns are what worries me because he's not a bigger guy. So only having
I think the touchdown too is because Jamal Williams took all the touchdowns.
Yeah.
Every time they get to the red zone, like they're kind of just running in because this kid, Jamal Williams is making it happen. So
that was
if
the
you
funny
don't get
thing.
the long ball to score yourself, you guarantee you're not going to get a touchdown. I mean, you're going to get the yardage and targets, but touchdown, maybe that's why maybe he could have been ranked higher if he had those touchdowns. But I think that's what kind of ranked 7 is still high.
Yeah, it's still high. Absolutely. But here's the funny thing. You talk about Jamal Williams every time they got inside, close yardage. I believe even though that, it was funny because they ran the most inside the 5. But I believe they're also like top 5 in passing attempts inside the 5.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. I believe Jared Goff was top 5 inside the 5-yard line at passing attempts.
Wild.
So that's just my major concern because he is a smaller guy. He's a shifty guy.
Yeah.
He knows how to get open. He's really good at route running. and he's got great hands. The hard part is you're in close. It's that's where you kind of want somebody like AJ Brown, a big body where you can go up there and get those jump balls, and you just can't get that with like somebody like Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah,
but I think he'll be there. I think he's a top 10 fantasy receiver next year. 10? I think so.
Man, it's so hard because there's so many still out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough. I think this is the hardest one to kind of predict who will be in the top 10 next year. But I just like the fact that they got hot late. I think a lot of that team, their offensive line looks good. The fact that I don't know if their defense is going to be that much more improved next year, and they're still going to have to score points, especially being in that NFC North division.
Yeah.
If the Packers keep Aaron Rodgers, what's going to happen with Chicago? But Justin Fields, I mean, him running the ball everywhere, and then of course the Minnesota Vikings, who still have a decent offense that can put up points. Yeah. So you're going to have to score. So those two facts, and Jared Goff. Is he the most consistent? But no, he's solid enough to where I think it's going to make it wild. So I go with Amon-Ra St. Brown being a top 10 receiver next year. I believe that.
Yeah, well, if you put it that way, yeah.
I mean,
I'm looking at his game log once again, and I mean, he did really well this year. He did really well, like just improved from last year a little bit. And yeah, maybe it's possible that he could do it again. I mean, he's shown that he's getting better, you know.
Yeah, and he's another one of those guys. He's one of those guys who wasn't the first receiver off the board, so he plays with that chip on his shoulder. I believe what was he like the 9th or 10th receiver taken in that draft?
I don't even remember.
I can't remember. It's a big. I know there's a lot of guys that went before him, and he plays with that chip. He remembers everybody that went before him, and he likes to prove the fact that they were wrong about him. So kudos.
Oh yeah, I think I read something about him. Like he remembers every single one that went before him, and he's trying to prove a point to try to show them like I'm this guy, you know.
Yeah, and you watch those guys. He proved it. And listen, you watch him work out, and that family's not afraid to put work in. So
no,
that's a good one.
He had like two really bad games. Other than that, it's like pretty solid like throughout the whole year.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, he was pretty solid throughout the whole. You can count on that. That's what I liked about it. He doesn't have that huge ceiling, but he has a nice high floor as far as his scoring.
Yeah.
That's where I really like St. Brown. He does have a very high floor. The ceiling sometimes is not. He's not going to be wide receiver 1 through 5 on a consistent basis, but he will put up that 15 to 6, 7 very consistently. So that's why I like Amon-Ra.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Definitely.
All right. So now we move on to the other pairing of that Eagles receiving core. Number 6 is Mr. A.J. Brown.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Dude, that guy's a monster. Monster. 145 targets, 88 receiving yards, nearly 1,500 receiving yards.
Yeah.
Only
TDs.
I believe there was only 3 other receivers there that had more receiving yards than him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but the touchdown thing was big. He had 11 touchdowns.
Yeah.
The concerning part for me, especially in his offense and the way he works, his snap percentage is actually lower than Devontae Smith. He played 86% of the snaps. Devontae Smith played 92%. That's the only concerning part.
Yeah. And then, like we are talking about earlier, like which team other than this one in Miami have a duo that would be both in top 10? You know what I mean?
I think the other one you could really make an argument for, because I think they did it last year. They did not do it this year, but it's the Cincinnati Bengals with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Yeah.
I believe those are probably those 3 teams, these 3 sets, I think are the only ones that really threaten to be top 10 duos throughout the year. So curious to see.
Man.
Yeah. Craziness. But I like you put A.J. Brown, solid year altogether. I think his worst finish Where is his worst finish? I think worst finish was wide receiver 93. He played Washington. I don't think he played a whole lot of the game. He only played 78% of the snaps. Only had one catch in that game.
Yeah.
So kind of the floor, kind of very, very low on that one. But I mean, most parts, he's
other than
in.
That, he had other than that, he had one more bad game, and pretty much the whole season he lit it off.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the whole season was solid, especially towards the end there. Really got hot. Started hot, kind of in the middle there. Had some bad games, but then got more consistency out of him in the later part of that year.
I just noticed, from the last 6-7 games, same thing with Devonta Smith, right? They both went off.
They did.
That just shows that. Like we were saying earlier, a lot of people talking about Hurts, mobile, this and that, but if both of your receivers went off like this, the top man.
Yeah. That's why I like everybody. I think everybody looks at it, and you see all the great rushing yards that Jalen Hurts and the touchdowns that he puts up. But I don't think he gets enough credit as a passer. I just don't think so. I mean, he is actually pretty good. He's a really good quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, looking at this, I mean, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was a doubter. When I watched him in college, I thought Jalen Hurts, I was like, that guy's not going to be a pro quarterback, especially when he was at Alabama.
Yeah.
I think the best thing that ever happened to him is when he left Alabama and he was like, all right, you guys want 2 over me? I'll show you. And that's, I think, the mindset that he was like, okay, I'm going to be a QB. I'm not going to be just this guy who runs the ball.
He just showed it this year.
Yeah, he did. He balled out.
I'm kind of curious to see if the trend's gonna continue next year.
Oh yeah, I think so. The guy's a stud. The guy's built like a rock.
They got a great team, man.
They squats like team. Was he squat 400 pounds, something like that? It's ridiculous what that guy does.
Man, God, wow.
But yeah,
only difference between AJ Brown and Devonta Smith is the TD.
Yep, that's about it, man. The TDs, the TD difference. I think if a few of those goes Devonta Smith's way, I think you flip flop these two receivers.
Yeah, I strongly agree now. Both of them being top 10.
Mm-hmm. I think both of them.
But looking at this,
I think both of them are top 10 next year. I just think that that team is just too good especially for another year. They're going to make another deep run. And you listen, they're in the NFC East.
Mm-hmm.
You're still going to play the Giants twice. Giants have improved. They got a solid defense, but you're going to play the Commanders twice. You're going to play Dallas twice, and you know how Dallas loves to just, I don't know, not show up for divisional games.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Definitely believe that A.J. Brown is a top 10 fantasy receiver next year. I believe this is the duo that does get in just because of the QB play.
Well, it's just the whole team, I think.
Yeah.
There's just that team is like, when you think about it, the whole team is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be, I think that whole team is good. They got a nice, solid O-line. I mean, I'll ride this way with Hurts and these two receivers. I think.
Yeah, and it was a close loss at the Super Bowl.
Yep.
They're going to go for it. You know what I mean?
That fumble that Hurts had that was a return for a touchdown, I think that was the killer because they were driving the ball. If he drives down there and gets another score, they're up even bigger at half, and I think they control the clock.
They're pretty dominant first half.
Yeah, they were. So, I look for these guys both to be back into the top 10 next year.
10. Yep.
So
I strongly agree.
Number 10 was Amari Cooper. We both believe that's a fad, especially with Deshaun Watson. Yeah. Devontae Smith at number 9. I think that's a fact, like we just discussed.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle. I think you were kind of torn on this one. I say fad. I don't think I just don't like the quarterback play in Miami and the consistency that guy's on the field. That Tua is going to be on the field.
Totally the opposite from what we were just talking about with the Eagles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the QB.
Yep. So. Complete opposite. Amon-Ra St. Brown, iffy, but I think he sneaks in just because of the mindset of the Lions. They're going to have to be a team that scores 30-plus points a game to win. I don't think they win.
They showed they could do it. I mean,
exactly.
They'll lose, but they got
score. They got the offense for it. Their defense, which got better, but it's still a work. There's still pieces that they need to add there to get better, but I like Amon-Ra just with the fact that they have to score, and of course A.J. Brown at number 6. We both believe this is the duo that gets into the top 10 again, and we will put our money on it. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown both get in the top 10. So, guys.
On the board.
Yep. We will get ready for the next show and bring you numbers 5 through 1. See if we think there's a fad or fact that those guys are back in the top 10. Should be interesting. There's some big names in those top 5. Yeah. Lee, thanks for joining me again for the show.
Got it. Fun.
So hopefully we can get together. We'll do number 5 through 1 for you guys. Please follow us on Twitter, guys. Handle is Vegas Guys LR. All right, for your host Jesse, Lee, thank you guys for joining us once again. We'll see you next time, guys.
We'll see you soon, guys.
All right, take care.